Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is the morning vibe on April 19th. And our apologies. I'm on my end. We're having a little bit of technical challenges. I don't like saying the word glitches, challenges in regards to our intro out from commercial. So bear with us. Dr. Vibe here. Ryan Oneil Knight there. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
Yeah, I feel like, the week break is over. I have not touched the beard in a month. I said April. Remember, the government has April. So you're going to get raw Ryan for a whole month. And hopefully we open back in May and I will find my barber and get to hook up.
Oh, that's right. Well, for people who are watching us, because we have a worldwide audience, where we live is shut down for another, is it 5 weeks?
And not just shut down, like shut down. So they did an initial shutdown in December, and then beginning of April, they did a lockdown, I would call it, and said first there was a lockdown, and then they said stay at home, and then they doubled down on the stay at home. It was like they gave the police, so we're in Ontario, Canada, they gave the police authority to stop people just to check to see what they're doing. What's interesting, though, is the police have pushed back to say, hey, we are not going to be just stopping people randomly, and not following like the government's order, the provincial government's order, actually. So it didn't come from federal. But, man, yeah.
That was pushed back rather quick.
True. And pretty, forceful. They're like, listen, we are not following that order. And I had employees that were like, listen, I'm not leaving my house because we're considered an essential service where we do car cleaning and disinfecting, and we work for the city. So some detailers like, listen, I'm not even risking driving around and getting pulled over for no reason. And I'm like, hey, I can't blame you. I don't want to drive around and get pulled over for no reason just to tell them and try to prove to them that I'm heading to work and I'm working for the city. We almost have to get letters just to prove, so that if we do get stopped, we have it. So
yeah, I was looking at how quickly that was turned. Well, I guess the pushback from the police forces, and then the government say, okay, we'll back down from it. But you wonder. It'll be very interesting how the next few weeks go. And yeah, so this is what, our third lockdown?
I would say official lockdown. And when the lockdown started, numbers kept getting crazy. I feel like that's why the government is scrambling. And we should have expected, because there's that 14-day kind of vesting period. So if you lock us down, that's not going to initially stop the growth. Like whatever was happening in the past 14 days is still going to happen. And then you're hoping 14 days from now, you're going to see numbers kind of tail off. But it's freaky numbers happening, man. It's like everything's getting worse.
Yeah, it was interesting. I had an appointment last week to get the AstraZeneca, I believe that's called, vaccine. And because of some of the media reports, I canceled it.
Right. Well,
because of the blood clot issue. And I'm just going, I don't know if I'm 100% for that. I sort of pulled out. And the funny thing is, the pharmacy that has it, they have appointments available like crazy. And no one is doing it. Christopher Lawrence, good morning, Christopher Lawrence. What is up? Brother. What's going on, Chris Lawrence? Thanks for joining the morning vibe this morning on April 19th. So yeah, I haven't got a vaccine yet. So hey, I know don't hold me over, but I do want to get something that could potentially give blood clots. I don't know if I'm
exactly. And they're saying the Pfizer one, you might need a third shot. I think either the CEO or somebody from Pfizer said a third shot might be needed to really, and I think they said after a year. So I'm thinking they're going to just tell you it's like the flu shot eventually. It's like you need it every year, booster shot. And I mean, what reason would a vaccine company have to tell us we only need one shot? Because now they can get paid forever. Like they can say the science is backing them, right? They're creating the science to tell us that we need the vaccine. They can milk this. Well, yeah, really, we have no choice. And especially if it gets mandated.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So another interesting, the times continue to be interesting, and everyone thought 2020 this would be over. It ain't over. It going on for a while. Ryan wanted to chat. Well, we're going to chop it up about different things this morning. You wanted to talk about BBPA Harry Jerome Awards that were held on Saturday virtually.
Yes. And that's where it's interesting because the times that we're in, it does beg the question, what purpose do galas like play in our lives? And I feel like it's like I'm of two minds because you go to the event and you really get hyped up, you get motivated, you get inspired, you get to see these amazing Black individuals and organizations that are support and doing great work. So you get really inspired. You want it to continue. You want it to lead into something because now it comes to Monday and you're like, okay, that the hype is gone. What did that connect to? Is it just, hey, I want to be inspired to eventually one day get an award? Or should I be inspired to get to work? And I think BBPA should have had like a big, bold button to say, now that you are motivated, now that you're inspired, now that you see your potential, click here to become part of the BBPA. Click here. I think Roderick came on and said, hey, because I think he's the director of memberships, and said, join the BBPA. But that should be the main focus because the BBPA right now actually has one of the best grants out for business owners called their BAIDS program. And I apologize, I don't remember the exact acronym, but it's a program that helps businesses get services. So when you need accounting, grant writing, staffing help, bookkeeping, all these different things that just services for your business, you can actually apply to the BBPA through their BAIDS program and get funding to pay for those services. And I do think it's open right now. Actually, I'll put the link in the chat for you, Dr. Vibe. And I tell business owners all the time because we do grant writing workshops. So every Wednesday, we're talking about what grants are out there. So making sure that, hey, if this one's open, and a lot of times for for-profit companies, there's not a lot of grants available. And so this is the best one that I've seen that is open right now. That should have been like the headline of the Harry Jerome Awards. It's like, listen, you're here. There's a room full of Black entrepreneurs. Make sure you plug into what we got. I didn't hear a lot of the talk about the services that they have. So, hey, I became an ambassador of the BBPA that night. They had a great trade show. So different businesses were in their own kiosks. So you can go to their Zoom rooms, introduce themselves and talk about their business. So I was like, make sure you sign up for this grant. The BBPA has a great one right now, and getting people onto their website and signing up. So that connection between the hype and motivation and the business support, I think the Harry Jerome Awards could do that a lot better.
Okay. Well, I didn't attend awards, to be 100% honest, so I did see snippets of it yesterday through a source. I'll leave it at that. I guess I'm of two alleged minds when it comes to award shows. Yes, I agree with you about, there's always opportunity to do it better. And I can't say I don't like awards because I've received 2 from the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. So I can't say that part. I think awards events have their place, celebration. My key thing is just like when I go to a conference, what happens between the end of the event and the next event. When we need to celebrate success. Absolutely. Don't disagree with that. 120%, 180%, 200%, yes. But the real stuff is the real awards are earned at the end of the event and the beginning of the next event. That's where I stand somewhat at that. That's where it comes from, alleged mind in regards to that. And we need to celebrate success, especially during these times, because again, we're not in the greatest of times.
True.
We do need to celebrate it. And there's always room for opportunity.
Absolutely. And speaking of like attending events, because this was the first time I actually could afford a BBPA Harry Jerome Award ticket. So that's why you saw me there. I was like, oh, they have a new tier, I guess because it's virtual. And what was really cool is seeing a lot of the people at the event with their kids. And even I had my daughter and my son with me, and you wouldn't have been able to bring your kids to a Harry Jerome Awards in the past. Sure. And so now they got to really experience. I was introducing my daughter to some of the entrepreneurs. This one lady, Greta, Greta Creates. She does artwork and she has like inspirational journals. And I was like, Jazz, you get to come in and see this. And then she got to talk with my daughter, and my daughter was talking about her book, and it was really exciting to see it. And that would have been a missed opportunity if the Harry Jeromes were normal and just like in person. And I put it in the chat. I was like, hey, it's awesome to see the kiddos at the event this year. The 40th is coming up next year. Could it be a family affair? Could it be, hey, bring the whole family? And hey, Nadine, you'll sell more tickets. So allow the kids to come next time. I think they need the inspiration too.
Just since you attended the whole event, what percentage of the attendees were teenagers, young adults?
Based on the chat, because I didn't look through like the attendees, and I wouldn't have been able to tell, but the people that I saw chatting, it was like 90%, I would say my age, so 30 and above. And teenagers, I did see there was a couple of awards for like youth entrepreneurs, but yeah, it was either like 30 plus or under 14 is like I was seeing, just enjoying the show. But like teenagers, young adults, there should be a bigger push to really include them as well.
Yeah, when I attend events, either in person or virtually, I'm always looking at the demographic of the attendees, and I would like to have. Well, I didn't attend. It would have been nice from what you're sharing with me, based on your information, to get that 18 to 30-year-old.
Yeah, and I know they have a scholarship program. So if the scholarship program encouraged more youth in school to become business owners, I think you would see a bump in the attendance of young adults, because now the BBPA is paying for you to learn at school, but learn to become a business owner. Don't just go to school and then go work for somebody else. Like, to me, that's the opposite. It's still a success. Yes, getting a job is great, but creating your own job and creating opportunities for the community through your business is a bigger success. I feel like that has a bigger ripple effect, and the BBPA could play a great role, because that almost is the complete loop. You're supporting a potential entrepreneur to go to school and fine-tune their craft. Then you're supporting them to become a business owner. And then they could be supporting the next group of entrepreneurs to go to school and start a business. And at the same time, they're hiring people. So anybody that, let's say, is going to school and graduating could now be hired by a past BBPA scholarship awardee that went to school and started a business and now is hiring the next grant. Like, it just creates this awesome ecosystem. So if the focus was around ownership and business ownership, I feel like that program would definitely get a boost as well.
You mentioned the word ecosystem. That actually came up in a conversation I was in yesterday. I got to write that. I have to thank you for reminding of me about ecosystem, because I have a conversation coming up about that. All right. Yeah. So, kudos to the BBPA for doing it again. Like, this 39 years, it's gonna be 40 years next year.
Yes, sir. Wow. And still, I'll say it's still going strong. It was good to see they combined, I think, last year 2020 and 2021 winners. And then, yeah, it was, the people that got the awards are doing such amazing work. And a lot of times they do it under the radar. Like, they're just busy doing the work. And so, it's, like you mentioned, it's good to acknowledge and spotlight and make sure that people are aware of the type of talent that's in our community. And again, the performers, there was a young lady, Naomi, playing the harp. And I was just like, I would have never heard of her. Well, maybe eventually if she'd be on TV. She's going to be on TV someday or playing in one of the orchestras. But I wouldn't have been aware of her without the BBPA's help, just to spotlight her and her talent. So these are the type of things that events like this can really spotlight the talent. And again, give it that year vibe, something like Harry HJA 365, and every day highlight people. And I was talking to G987 about this. Like, you guys have the perfect platform to take Black History Month and highlight Black talent and Black excellence all year. Every year, the same thing you do during the month.
Yep.
You spotlight a person a day, every day.
Well, you know what? There is a platform that is doing that via Instagram, and shout out to Buy Blacks. They have Black History 365. Shout out to Buy Blacks. If you follow them on Instagram, they have a post every day spotlighting a different member of Black Canadian society, either past or present. So they have a Black History 365 campaign that's going all through this year.
Boom. And shout out to Roger Dundas and Camille Dundas, the founders of Buy Blacks. And I know they're doing a pretty special restaurant promotion.
Yes.
So we got to get them on. So if anybody has Roger's number, please, or if you're near him, poke him and say, next Monday, let's get him on the show so that we can talk about it.
Roger and I have been in conversations about that.
Hey,
so
awesome.
Actually, I'm going to be speaking with him either today or tomorrow. We were having a back channel conversation about their restaurant week, and then also that may lead into a collaboration with Cuisine Noir magazine, which I'm a member of their multimedia. I'm their board chair of their multimedia entity called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. So the collaborations run down deep in that regards.
I love how that connects.
Yes, Roger actually mentioned your name in our conversation about the restaurant week. So sounds like he may have reached out to you already.
Well, yeah, he did let me know about it. So, because we have the Gospel Cafe, they have their new home in the Black Business Development Hub.
Yes, I mentioned that. I mentioned that to him. Well, we got a few minutes left, and people probably going to talk about it, but today is Federal Budget Day in Canada.
Right.
So people may not even know. People are probably so focused on the pandemic. But yes, we've got an upcoming budget today. And Ryan, from where you sit as a parent, as a business owner, as a business influencer, what are you looking for? What would you like to see in this upcoming budget?
I have to say, I have to become more versed in reading federal budgets and provincial budgets to know what in it directly relates to myself and relates to my family. On the broader scheme, you talk about, okay, is there going to be funding to support Black businesses? And that's kind of where I would be able to fully understand it, to say, okay, there's a line item, it supports Black businesses. I am a Black business. I work with Black businesses. So I understand that. When it gets deeper into how does this affect Ryan personally, it's difficult. I need to get better at reading the book. And this, so again, look, I'm not trying to bash the BBPA. I love y'all, but use that platform to educate us. You guys have these relationships with the federal government. Provide these workshops and say, hey, the budget's coming out. Have you ever looked at a federal budget? And I would say no. And then you'd say, come to this event and we are going to show you what a budget looks like. And listen, I would attend. I would be there because it's so important.
That's actually an interesting point you bring up, because before a budget, they have the media come in and they do a pre-budget briefing. They call it a lock. I believe it's a lockup or lockdown before the budget, where the government, I guess the Minister of Finance or their representatives, go over the budget before they actually put it out there live. And that's interesting. I wonder if any Black Canadian reporters have ever been in a pre-budget lockup, whether provincially or federally?
That's a good question for Roger, because he is one of the, I would say, highest level media moguls that I know of. So if Buy Blacks has never been there, I'm curious.
I don't think, and I have a little bit of a relationship with someone fairly high up, Black Canadian in government. Never been. That's. I'm gonna write that down. Black.
And again, knowing that, like, I didn't even know that. So now, when Black business organizations that are supposed to support and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm seeing my own face. I'm saying, Ryan, ACBN, this is something that we could be pushing to say there's this media lockdown, I guess, debrief.
Yeah,
it's
a media. Budget. It's a debrief.
Yeah,
but, and I
never knew about it.
And I'm going to dig deep into that, because we should be at that media table. We should be at, for as much as the federal government is saying that they want to assist Black Canadians, business, non-business, etc. We should be there at those pre-budget briefings, provincially. Well, forget municipal, provincial, and federal. We should be there.
100%. And there were consultations. I saw MP Greg Fergus doing those consultations. You were able to do, I don't know what you call it, a deposition, and I was able to do your 2 minutes, and that's important. But again, the education before the consultation helps. And that's where ACBN and organizations like the BBPA could really prepare our community to go into these deputations, because now I went in cold. I was like, okay, you want me to talk about what I'm working on? Boom, I'll create a script. But did I approach it right? Did I ask the right questions? Am I even talking about things that the federal government is involved in? Because if I go in there talking about education, do this and do that, and then they're going to look at me and be like, yeah, well, that's provincial. So you just wasted your 2 minutes because we don't even touch education and health or things like that. Being prepared. And I mean, being prepared is the name of the game. And we're seeing a lot more access, but still the education is missing. We're getting access to procurement, but we're not being educated on how to apply and how to execute procurement. We're getting access to, we just did a session with the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, about funding that they have to help Black developers and contractors. Well, they have it just to help developers and contractors in general, but Black developers have not been accessing it. And why? Just because of lack of knowledge. You know of CMHC, but you only hear about their mortgage insurance. You didn't realize they will help you build the house that you're trying to get into. So this is where education and really taking entrepreneurs and taking Black talent by the hand and saying, these are the things that you're about to get access to, or these are the things that we are going to get you access. And BBPA is doing a great job with that to say, hey, we're going to get you access to funding through the federal government. Now take our hand and we will walk you to the money. Like there's going to be no missteps.
Secure the bag.
We're going to knock things out the way for you, like any barriers. And when we finish this journey, you are going to be you're going to have that much more capital, that much more resources. And again, while we're walking to, let's say, government grants, we should also be generating our own revenue. And that's where I love procurement. The government's already spending billions of dollars. We just need to position ourselves in front of that flow of money. So teach me how to do an application so that these 10 cleaning jobs, and there's 10 bids right now for janitorial, cleaning, and those are things that our company could go after. But just show me where the workshop is that will get the application done. The government workshops are fine to give you an overview to say, hey, this is the general scope of writing a procurement and how to do business with the government. But from their own mouth, they can't help you do the application. No. We need more help to do the application and get it in, because I was sitting down and doing this proposal and I could feel my brain just getting hot. I was like, and it took me 2 attempts. I was working on it the first time, and I'm like, you know what? Is this really worth the effort, like the brain power? And it is worth it, but it doesn't feel like it. And it took me a second attempt to say, okay, no matter what you're doing today, clear your calendar, get this thing in, call who you have to call to learn about the process. And again, even at the end of it, there was still stuff that I missed. So if you had guidance, you wouldn't miss those things. And then once you do it once, you're good.
Well, I think also too, it's equipping, being equipped.
Yeah,
right.
That's
we have to be equipped to know the process, because if we're not equipped with the process, we're playing checkers when we need to play chess.
Right. We have the wrong piece. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to the game and you take out your pieces and it's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you're embarrassing yourself. And then you just go home and you're like, you didn't even have a chance.
You know, that's the thing. You need to know how to play the rules of the game. And a perfect example, last week, one of the things I worked on was I'm in the process of building my email list. And I'm not good at that stuff, full force, but I have a relationship with a gentleman in England. We sat down for 2 hours, and now we've got something set up, and we're on the building of it. Actually, you'll probably start seeing it on this platform the next little while or so.
Excellent.
So those things, that's the thing we need to know, have the relation, so we know how to play the rules of the game, how to play chess. Actually, here's a question from Kevin Messam in New York City, former Canuck, who's living in New York. From an economic standpoint, what's in the pipeline for Black Canada to change the cultural dynamic at home? What businesses are we going to be having that's going to change things at home? You're right, asking one of the right people. There's a businessman right there. So the president of the ACBN, what do you think of that question?
And I love the question because I actually have an answer. And it ties back into procurement. So the difference between like the handouts and us having actual economic empowerment is that ability to do something. And when I say position ourselves in front of the flow of money, position ourselves to build our own communities. And that's why we were doing this session with CMHC, because they already have, I think they have over $26 billion set aside to build affordable housing. Now, if you put together developers and contractors to build these housing and it's funded, you've now created a ripple effect that you can build an entire community. Those people building it are going to bring their families. Those people building it need different services. You create an entire ecosystem similar to a city. Like, think of Toronto and all the different pieces all the different types of employment that's needed to run a city. If we have the ability to build our own housing, build our own communities, build our own cities, we now there's a pipeline to educate our youth to say, get in these industries because we need you. We are building something that we need you to plug into, and that creates the ecosystem where we're actually empowering ourselves. And again, same thing with procurement. There's a list right now of they're doing pre-qualifications for different industries. And the list has like, I think 150 industries that you can get pre-qualified for to get bids from the government. So if you look at that list and you know contracts are going to be coming, let's say 6 months or a year from now, you could actually position yourself and say, in demolition, I'm going to create a company or I'm going to partner with another demolition company to say, listen, I know that bids are going to be coming out for demolition. You have a company, I'm going to support you in getting that bid and now increase that company's revenue. And then they have to hire more, and you've now empowered them to support the community. And again, there's 150 types of industries that the government's going to buy from. Knowing what that list is, we can now coach entrepreneurs and students to go into those industries to make sure that they're positioned to get those contracts. Those are conversations that weren't happening. I know when I was coming up, to say, look ahead, here's the trend, these are the things that need to be done, go into those industries. And again, affordable housing would have been it. We have a housing crisis. The Oh my God,
Ryan has a housing
we're
crisis
in it right now. We need more supply, and if you've listened to anything about housing, you know we need more supply. The government has already set aside billions of dollars to create supply. Why aren't we telling our kids to start learning how to build houses? That is guaranteed revenue right now. If you can get a piece of land and build housing on it, that's a guaranteed win for like the foreseeable future. That's what I would tell my kids. Like, listen, get into some area of construction and building infrastructure. We as a country need infrastructure.
There you go. Christopher Lawrence is saying hashtag infrastructure.
Yes.
Kevin Mess is saying, even though he's in New York, he's still a Canuck.
Yes,
Christopher has this question. We'll answer one more question and call, because usually we go for about 35 minutes. Christopher's going, this has become the Ryan Oneil Knight show today. Where does one go to get access to this, or is that that procurement list?
That procurement list is available. I actually just put it in the chat. So maybe Dr. Vibe, if you can share that link. So this link will show you the full.
This will be up in just a minute.
And I'm talking about demolition work, road services, marine construction, irrigation, sewers and drain, pipeline construction, dredging, engineering works, pile driving, water well, like the list goes on and on. So if your child is unemployed right now, there's a list of things that people are needing work done. We need to make that connection. There should be no unemployed Black youth. There are enough jobs out there if we train them right and educate them towards the trends. And a lot of times in other cultures, you'll see you always start somewhere. Like a friend of mine, when we were in high school, he'd always work on the weekends with his dad doing contracting and landscaping. And there was always something to do. Like there's never his dad would never look at his son and be like, oh, he's unemployed. What do we do about my unemployed son? It's like, no, you're coming with me. Like you're coming with me to learn what I do. And then he didn't even go into the trade. He became an accountant for landscapers. So now he went to school knowing that these landscapers need bookkeeping and need services.
Yep.
And the money is there. Like they've connected the dots, and that's where we just need to connect the dots. Where's the trend going? How do we prepare our youth to support the businesses that we're building right now? I'm not saying rely on the youth to fix our problems. We are still alive. We have a heartbeat. We can create opportunities and now plug our youth into those opportunities.
Well, as I get back to that word again, equipping.
Yes.
It gets back to that word equipping. So if you're watching this live or on the replay, we have the link here on the screen. And again, if you didn't catch it, it's right there standing still. So, things are coming in fast and furious. So Kevin Messam is saying housing justice is a big issue for the Black community, especially in big cities that have Black people, should be Black people living there. Nope. And he also says having a job is one thing, finding a career is another thing. What are the growing opportunities for Black youths?
I'm glad he put IE Tech, because on Saturday we did our monthly Black Boys Code session, and we were talking about trends in tech. And cybersecurity is a discipline, and Andrew Bromfield was talking about it when we interviewed him
last Friday.
Well.
Yep. Last Friday on the Morning Vibe, he was talking about that.
If you learn anything about cybersecurity, you are in the 1%.
Yep.
So, and there's, I don't want to say limitless, but there's an abundance of jobs vacant and things that we don't even know exist right now that you could be putting yourself in position to obtain. So when we're talking about youth, infrastructure and technology is where the trend is going. We're always going to need infrastructure, and technology is going at such a pace that cybersecurity is so important that everybody,
even more so after the last year.
It exponential. Like the rate, the need for cybersecurity grew so vast that, and 5G is coming. So the world of technology is going to be moving so fast that people have to secure their things and we really don't know what 5G is going to look like on a global scale.
It's interesting, and I was listening, actually, the United States and is it Japan, or I think it's the United States and Japan are actually going to be last week. The leaders of those two countries met, and they've agreed to form their own 5G project. Because obviously a lot of companies don't like the 5G platform because it's by Huawei and it's a Chinese company, and they're all concerned about security. Is the information going to go back to the Chinese government? So the United States and Japan signed an agreement last week saying we're going to create our own 5G platform separate from China's.
It's like a whole separate network. And I believe it because once they figure out the technology, if Huawei, it was patented and you couldn't figure it out, then you'd be stuck. But if they're able to figure out their own 5G, again, it's going to make computing and transfer of information so fast, you can literally take data in milliseconds. Yep. And if you can't protect that, that's what Andrew was talking about. The protection of data is so paramount right now because everybody's vulnerable if you don't know what you're doing with your security. The opportunity, and that's just one segment of technology. Cybersecurity is just one segment. Going into computer science and learning coding, that's what we're starting with our young Black boys, just to say, get comfortable with coding, because that's the trend of this next, they call it the fourth industrial revolution, is technology and how that's going to be shaping work going forward. And if you miss this gap, it's like we're in horse and buggies and people are driving cars, like that type of
electric cars.
Electric cars. That's the thing. Look at AI. Tesla, people think it's a car company, but it's created so much data around.
No, Tesla's not a car company. They send rockets to space. They do space missions around the Earth. That is such a diverse entity. People just think of the cars.
True.
It's more than that.
SpaceX, and that's where I was saying, with the AI and the autonomous vehicles, they've created so much data that they're more an AI company than an actual car company. Like, they actually are creating an entire network for cars to be driving. So if you're a taxi driver right now, you should not you think Uber is bad? Watch what Tesla creates, because I think they're going to just use their cars. People will park them at work and their car goes off and becomes an Uber.
One last question, because we were just going to chop it up. This could go on for all the day, but we have things to do. So one last thing, Christopher Lawrence is asking, can we create a pre-employment where tech is concerned? I'm willing to assist. Well, what you can do, Chris, if you reach out to me via Instagram or Twitter, or just even send me a message via the Facebook, and we can have a further conversation, myself, you, and Ryan, and see what sort of opportunities there are there. And if if we can't do it ourselves, we can direct you to the people who are doing it. Or maybe a conversation with a conversation with Andrew Bromfield would maybe be the best thing. We could get you and talk. And I also would say, watch the replay of last Friday. And definitely, if you want to get in touch with Andrew, Ryan would be the best person to do that. But reach out to myself, and we can take it from there.
And definitely one of those unspoken heroes in our community, George Frempong, who is one of the co-founders of the Herjavec Group. So if you know the Herjavec Group, oh my goodness, the gentleman from Shark Tank,
Robert Herjavec, and actually, I know someone who used to work for him.
So George is like one of the co-founders of the whole company, and they
do security. That's
cybersecurity. So
that's where Robert made
involved too. Yeah. Listen, I know Andrew would be involved. I love that idea, Christopher.
Yeah, yes. Herjavec, that's where Robert made his money, and
cybersecurity.
And he's been in that game a long time ago, long before Shark Tank. He grabbed the bag a long time ago.
Yes.
He secured the bag a long time ago in regards to that. So, all right, man, what's going on this week?
This week, what is going on? So the press release of the Black Empowerment Manifesto should be coming out on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. So, but I am in the process of sending it to like the different organizations. I'll send you the copy and different politicians to let them know of it. But the official press release will be on Thursday. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, good stuff.
And what about you, sir? How's your week looking?
Well, today in itself, for some people, so I'm having a week just today. So after we do our conversation day, our debrief, I have to edit an interview of myself that was done by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I may be appearing on CTV News Channel in regards to the budget from a men and fathers perspective. I don't know if that's that may happen. I have a number of live conversations this week for my Dad's Talking platform. This afternoon, I have a conversation with an educational institution in regards to a potential collaboration. What else? Mentoring a number of people throughout the week and getting some rest somewhere.
All right. I'm going to ping you. Like, listen, did you rest?
Yeah, getting some rest somewhere. And later on this week, 2 or 3 mornings a week, I'll be in a clubhouse room called Are You Man Enough, where I co-moderate 2 or 3 times a week in regards to different subjects in regards to manhood. So that's a little bit. I don't know, and things always come up.
And right? Then exactly, things always come up.
Things come up, but folks, have to say thank you for watching. Watching live. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Coming up on Friday, Friday, we have a representative from Sheridan College who is a job developer for co-op students in the film and animation program for Sheridan College in the Mississauga, Brampton area. And he'll be coming on talking a little bit about his program, but also about what is the employment world looking for like right now. Right. For young people. Thank you, Kevin. Come back on Friday if you're available. Yes. So that's basically what's coming up. We want to wish you a great week, everybody. Thanks for taking your time to watch us live on the replay. In the credits, there is contact information if you have any suggestions, if you have any guests, or if you want to be on. Make sure we're gonna vet you though. We're gonna
yes.
If you want to be on the Morning Vibe, as always. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. And we will see you on Friday. Peace.